So have you ever found yourself reading a book only to realize you've been staring at the same page for a very, very long time without absorbing a single word? You and me both, I've been there as well. So I've been reading since I was around 14, 15, and I went through a prolonged stage of like struggling to understand what I've actually just read, leading me to feel extremely demotivated and frustrated. I feel like there was something wrong with me as opposed to the technique I was using. But I've come to learn that true learning comes from comprehension and not memorization. And that was the biggest lesson for me, realizing I'm not stupid, I was just doing it wrong. And understanding helps us become more connected with what we learn. So the more you understand what you read, the more valuable lessons you will learn and probably implement in your life. So in this video, I'm going to share with you why you're failing to truly understand what you read, what you can do about it, and I'm going to share some powerful tips to enhance your reading comprehension as well. These strategies are used by some of the most successful learners, authors, and professionals, and they can completely transform how you absorb, understand, and retain information. So let's dive into why understanding what you read is so challenging. Okay, so first things first, the reason why is because you don't understand the core basics. So one of the biggest problems that I had, and probably what a lot of people have as well, is we use memorization instead of comprehension. And these strategies are two completely different things. Like if we want to memorize something, we have to do different strategies, we have to use different tricks. And in order to comprehend, we have to use a completely different strategy, and we have to use different things that allow us to fully understand what we read. And I think comprehension needs more deeper thinking as opposed to memorization, where it's you don't really have to go as deep. It's still extremely useful, but you don't have to go as deep as comprehension. And I think personally, the goal should always be to understand the text. Like for instance, it's really hard to understand something. When you understand something, you kind of know all the parameters, you know quite deeply about the subject or the topic. So the way we make sure that we know the basics of a concept is to use the SEEI method. So if we break this down, this stands for state it. So it's clearly stating the concept or idea in a sentence or two. So the first E is the elaborate. So this is where you explain it further in your own words to try and gain a better grasp of what you're trying to understand. So the second E is exemplify. So this is where you provide examples or counter examples, either from your counter beliefs or counter arguments, or even other examples that are presented in the book. And the I is for illustrate. So this is providing a picture, metaphor, diagram, or even an analogy of the concept to help you fully understand the concept as a whole. So this whole process is going to allow you to fully understand what you read by, creating links, having mental models, or even metaphors about the concept. So if you look at this system, it kind of works as a funnel. So like each step allows a deeper understanding of the concept. So in addition to that, here are some powerful tips you can create an even deeper comprehension for the things you're trying to learn. So tip number one is to actively teach. Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And I think this has been a massive thing for me. I think actively teaching what I've learned helps me understand what I don't understand about the subject, or allows me to really think deeply about what I'm trying to say. Like I usually share concepts and ideas with my girlfriend or my mum, or sometimes even if I'm not around them, I would just use a voice note. I know there's a platform called Otter AI which allows you to see what you've said, like transcribes it. So if you don't have someone that you can share it with, then using a voice note is definitely a good option. So I think the benefits to this is it allows you to identify any holes in your understanding. Like when you're speaking to someone, or when you're recording your voice notes, I think pinpointing exactly what you're struggling with and being able to go back to it and simplify it and basically reorganize that information in your brain is so powerful. So tip number two is to use multiple mediums. So when I say multiple mediums, I mean watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, going on apps that provide summaries like Blinkist or short form. I think also using AI can help as well, like things like ChatGPT. You can get summaries, you can really go deep into what you're not understanding, and obviously it's really helpful when you've got all these new platforms popping up that can help you digest bits of information and PDFs and things like that as well. So utilizing AI is very helpful. So I think the benefits of this is having it explained differently can be a massive help. Like if I'm struggling with a concept in a book, I'd literally just YouTube it and see what YouTube videos come up, and then click on the videos and see if that helps me understand it a little bit more. You've obviously got different examples that people use, people explain it in different ways. Sometimes there'll be more visual videos, sometimes there'll be someone on stage doing a TED talk explaining something in a certain way. So looking at these different mediums helps so much. Like we're all different types of learners as well. Like some people like the visual, some people like text, and some people like active. Some people are active learners, so that's maybe drawing the concepts or making mind maps or things like that can help us understand these things. So the next tip is to take breaks and reflect. And I think allowing your brain to think and ponder on thoughts is extremely powerful, because it allows you to actually digest and ruminate and ponder and think about all these ideas. And I think we get the best ideas when our minds are still and we're doing something else. So I think taking breaks and reflecting on ideas is what gives the breakthroughs that we need. So you might find yourself eager to implement these tips and dive deeper in your reading journey, but being consistent in reading is another thing. And in this video here, I share one simple equation that completely eradicated my procrastination when it came to reading and studying. So hopefully that helps you out. I'll see you in there. Peace.